as playing 5 to 1.
Right.
Correct?
Mm-hmm.
D major, D7, D major. Because when you go from 1 to 4, oftentimes you turn the
Stop at
1
the
chord
7.
into a dominant 7. And if you were playing a D and you wanted to play 5 to 1, you could do exactly the same thing.
Okay.
Which is 5 to 1. But here we're going 1 to 4. We're only going to talk about 1 to 4 today. No. Why does that not work? Because that has a major 7th in it.
So you could do that if you use the knee lever.
Do you have a half stop or do you have a...
I do, but it's messed up.
But I can feel it.
Yeah.
Sometimes guys will play D when they're going 1 to 4. They'll play D, which I'm just doing root and third on the 4th and 3rd strings. And then they'll pick 3 and 2, which gives you the major 3rd and the major 7th, right? Because that 2nd string.
Half step down.
But then they'll flat that major 7 down to the flatted 7th with the knee lever.
So you get like a chromatic.
And then they'll go to the G chord, the 4 chord, which is right on the same fret with A and B pedals now.
Oh, what'd you do there? Did you lower the E's?
I've gone to the 4 chord. I'm playing a G chord now with the A and B pedals. And I'm rocking off of the A pedal.
Oh, that's all?
Yeah.
Oh. I thought you were throwing some knee stuff in there too.
1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So if I'm going to the 4 chord and I want to go to a D7, this that's a different way to resolve it to the 4 chord rather than going, which is what we were doing. You can actually go by sliding.
Oh, and then so you're into the pedals down on the 5th.
The A pedal, no, well, you're at the A pedal and the E to F lever. You're playing a G chord.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Now, this deal is way more in tune than mine's ever been. And it sounds better than mine.
For 15 minutes.
You want to trade?
Absolutely.
But just taking the root and the major 3rd down a whole step gives you the flatted 7th. The root goes down to the flatted 7th. The major 3rd goes down
To the
to
9.
the 9th.
Right.
But in that position, a lot of times if I'm going to a 7th chord,
Now, do you do that on? Sorry, it sounded like you also did. You did 3, 4, and then did you do 4, 5?
if you play 4 and 5, you're playing the 5th and the root.
Right. So then you
So
get.
if you slide down, the
You're
root goes down to
suspended.
flat 7th, but you have a 4th.
So you're
So it's not really,
13. Yeah.
I don't know what you call that. As far as a D chord, you can call it a D7 suspended 4 or something.
Okay.
But what I do is I'll raise the 5th up to the 6th. Because then you have the root going down to the flat 7 and the 6th going down to the 5th. So you have 5th, flat 7th, 4 and 5.
So just the A pedal down.
Yeah.
So you're in
Which
the.
is where you're at in this lick as well. And it's all part of that. You turn the...
Is the B off now? That B pedal may be off because of what I messed with.
you take a major chord in the open position, You raise the fifths up to the sixth. It's like a D6 chord, kind of now. And it is a D6 chord, except the note that was the fifth
Is now the sixth.
is now the sixth. So it's not technically a sixth chord. It has 4 notes. It has a root, third, fifth, sixth.
Right.
You don't have the fifth anymore because it's in red. But when you do that, which is also the relative minor, it's also a B minor triad, technically, that's what that really is. For those 3 notes, third, root, third, sixth. When you slide it down a whole step, the root goes down a whole step to the flat and seventh. The third
To the 9.
goes down to the ninth. The sixth goes down to the fifth. So you have flat, 7, 9, fifth. Which is a really good sound for a D7 chord. It doesn't have the major third in it, which means you're not really technically playing a 7th chord. A dominant 7th chord is supposed to have it's a major chord with a flat 7.
Right.
But
So you almost get C6 kind of sounds out of it too.
that's in that open position. I want to go. And I want to go to the 4 chord. One of the things I'll do is I'll turn the 1 chord into a flat dominant 7, which is hard to do in that position. This is one of the ways I do it. Here's another one.
Right.
Flat, the 2nd string.
And you don't use the 9th string very often.
The what?
The 9th string?
I do.
Yeah.
That's another good way to do it. That's a nice 7th chord. It's a clustery 9th chord. 9, 7, 6. I've been using that a lot lately. Because one of the downsides of the E9th neck is that it is a really high register. It's in a high
Right.
register. You don't have the lowest note on the instrument
Is B.
is B, like on your the
A
sixth,
string,
right?
yeah.
So the lowest kind of major chord you can play.
Right.
But if you're playing like accompaniment, when you're accompanying, and that's one of the things I would have, had I been in a position where somebody like you had asked me about when you sat in with the Hoyle brothers the other day, I would have urged you to try to make it really sound different when you're accompanying, when you're playing fills, like during the vocals. Let's assume it's a song that has no solos. Verse, chorus, verse, chorus, chorus. Trevor, our meal ticket, our good-looking meal ticket, is singing the song. That's why 90% of the females in the place are there, because Trevor is in our band. We're going to come out with a Trevor calendar where Trevor's dressed as a fireman.
Nice.
Yeah. But so if like you're playing a tune like that, and it's you and Steve Doyle with a guitar player, you're either playing fills behind the vocal, something that is more of a featured sound,
Right.
or Steve is playing stuff that is more of a featured sound. It doesn't work very well for both of you to be playing fills at the same time.
Right.
Or if Steve's playing a solo, if there was a solo, then your role is as an accompanist to kind of help establish the chords of the tune without distracting people from either Trevor's vocals or Steve's fills or solo. right?
Right.
And when you were playing, it was hard to tell when you were filling and when you were accompanying, right? And I think you had mentioned to me that you kind of feel like you do the same thing in both.
Yeah. I mean, I was trying to do less when the vocals were
That's one of the
happening.
main things to do, when the vocals, or if it's Stevie's turn to fill.
Right.
I noticed that you weren't, it didn't seem like you were really thinking, okay, this is Stevie's turn to fill.
You know, I think I realized that, here, I don't need to keep recording this.